Welcome grade 12s. Today, we're going to tackle a topic that's not only super important for your final exams, but often a bit confusing: the menstrual cycle. My goal today is to make sure you can walk into that exam and get every single mark for this section. Let's do it.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the basics, then walk through the cycle, day by day. After that, we'll meet the hormones, the real bosses of this whole process. Then, we'll crack open those tricky exam graphs and finish up with some proper exam practice. Okay, let's dive right in.
All right, first things first. What exactly are we even talking about here? Let's make sure we've got our basic definitions locked down.
So, in simple terms, the menstrual cycle is this series of changes that happens over and over again. Now, we say it's a 28-day cycle, and for your exams, that's the number to remember. But just know, in reality, it can vary quite a bit. And the whole point of this entire elaborate process, it's all about preparing the body for a potential pregnancy every single month.
Now this is a really important idea to get your head around. The menstrual cycle isn't just one thing. It's actually two stories happening at the exact same time, and they're completely connected. You've got the ovarian cycle. That's everything going on inside the ovary to get an egg ready. And then you've got the uterine cycle. That's what's happening in the uterus to prepare a home for that egg. They're constantly talking to each other using hormones.
So how does this whole journey actually play out over those 28 days? Well, we can break it down into four main phases that you absolutely have to know.
Think of this timeline as your map. We kick things off with the menstrual phase. Then we move into the follicular phase, where everything starts building up again. Right in the middle, we have the main event, ovulation on day 14. And finally, we enter the luteal phase to round it all out.
Okay, so day one of the cycle always starts with menstruation. And why does this happen? Well, because pregnancy didn't occur in the last cycle. So that thick, nutrient-rich uterine lining isn't needed anymore, and it breaks down. The key trigger for this, and you need to remember this, is that hormone levels are at rock bottom.
So as soon as menstruation is over, the body is already getting ready for the next chance. The pituitary gland, think of it as mission control up in the brain, sends out a signal. That signal is a hormone called FSH, follicle-stimulating hormone. I mean, the name says it all, right? It stimulates a follicle in the ovary to start growing. And as that follicle gets bigger, it starts pumping out its own hormone, estrogen, which gets to work rebuilding the uterine wall.
Now we're getting to about day 14, the halfway point, and this is where the real action happens. All that estrogen that's been building up from the growing follicle sends a message back to mission control, the pituitary gland. And that message triggers a massive surge of another hormone, LH, or luteinizing hormone.
And this huge spike in LH is the direct trigger for ovulation. It's like the starting gun. It causes that fully mature follicle, which we now call a Graafian follicle, to literally burst open and release the egg. This moment right here is the most fertile time in the whole cycle.
Okay, so the egg is gone, but what about the empty follicle left behind? Well, it gets a brand new job. That same hormone, LH, helps transform it into something called the corpus luteum. Now, this corpus luteum acts like a temporary little factory, and its main job is to produce progesterone. Progesterone is the pro-pregnancy hormone. It takes that uterine lining and makes it super thick, spongy, and perfect for a fertilized egg to implant.
Right, let's talk about the hormones. I know they can seem tricky, but honestly, if you understand these four key players, you've pretty much unlocked this entire topic.
And here's a little exam hack for you. Just remember the word FOLP, F-O-L-P. This little word is going to save you in the exam because it tells you the exact order that the four main hormones reach their peak levels. Seriously, write it down, FOLP.
And this table just puts it all together beautifully. Think of it like a relay race, okay? The pituitary gland starts the race by releasing FSH, which passes the baton to the follicle. The follicle runs its lap, producing estrogen. High levels of estrogen pass the baton back to the pituitary, which releases a final burst of LH. LH then triggers ovulation and passes the baton to the corpus luteum, which takes us to the finish line with progesterone. See? Each step causes the next one to happen.
You are guaranteed to see a graph of these hormone levels in your exam. So let's make sure you can look at it and know exactly what's going on in just a few seconds.
This chart makes it super simple. Just remember our word FOLP. Look, FSH has a little peak first. Then estrogen builds up and peaks just before day 14. That estrogen peak causes the massive, sharp spike of LH right on day 14. That's ovulation. And then, in the second half of the cycle, the big, broad peak belongs to progesterone. It's that simple.
Okay, let's get you thinking like an examiner. So, if there's no pregnancy, the corpus luteum starts to break down.
We know the corpus luteum makes progesterone, so what's going to happen to the progesterone level? Come on, you know this. It's going to drop, and drop sharply.
And that drop is the final signal. With no progesterone to hold it in place, the uterine lining can't be maintained. It breaks down, and boom, we're right back at day 1 with menstruation. The whole cycle starts over. It's a perfect feedback loop.
Okay, this is probably the most important part. Let's apply what we've learned to some real exam-style questions. This is where you actually earn those marks. Now, a really common place where learners lose easy marks is by mixing up FSH and LH. But you're not going to make that mistake. Just remember, FSH has an F in it for follicle. It grows the follicle. LH has an L, and it causes ovulation. Lock that in your brain right now. Right, here's your first question. I want you to pause this explainer for a moment and actually try to answer it. What are the 2 main jobs of LH? Go for it. How did you do? I hope you got it. So for 2 marks, the examiner needs to see 2 distinct functions. You have to say that LH triggers ovulation, and you have to say it stimulates the formation of the corpus luteum. You need both for the full 2 marks. Okay, here's a classic prediction question worth 3 marks. Pause and really think this one through. If progesterone stays high, what are the consequences? Right, let's see where those 3 marks come from. First mark, progesterone maintains the endometrium, so the uterine lining would not break down. Second mark, if the lining doesn't break down, then menstruation would not occur. And for the third mark, the really clever one, high progesterone actually inhibits the pituitary gland. It stops it from releasing FSH. And if there's no FSH, a new follicle can't develop, and a new cycle can't begin. And that, of course, is exactly what happens during pregnancy.
Let's wrap this all up. If there's one thing you take away from this, it's that the menstrual cycle is all about cause and effect. One thing happens, which triggers the next. Master the jobs of the 4 hormones, FSH, estrogen, LH, and progesterone, and you will master this entire section. Trust me, this topic comes up all the time, and it's worth a lot of marks. If you understand the hormones, you are guaranteed to get marks in your final exam. Good luck!